There is a silence in the history of wisdom that we have agreed not to notice. Walk into the great library of human philosophy. Look at the shelves labeled Stoicism, Discipline, Mastery, and Enlightenment. Look at the faces carved into the marble busts that line the hallways of our intellectual history. What do you see? You see Marcus Aurelius, the emperor. You see Seneca, the statesman. You see Miyamoto Musashi, the swordsman. You see Nietzsche, the lonely prophet. You see bearded monks and stern warriors. We have built a cathedral of wisdom, but we have built it with only half the stone available to us. For centuries, and especially in this modern age of digital motivation, we have been told that the path to strength is a singular path. We are taught that resilience looks like a fortress, that discipline looks like war, that conquering the self is a battle of steel and blood. We have listened to the fathers, the kings, and the warriors, and their wisdom is true, it is valuable, but it is incomplete. We have been reading the map of the human soul with one eye closed. Where is the wisdom of the other half of the human experience? Where are the mothers of resilience? Where are the explorers of the intuition? Where are the women who did not conquer the mountain by attacking it, but by becoming the mountain? If we truly seek to explore the inner frontier, we cannot afford to leave half the territory uncharted. We cannot claim to seek the truth of the human condition while ignoring the voices of those who have endured, created, and transcended in ways that history often forgot to record. This channel is not a shrine to the past. It is a laboratory for the future. And in this laboratory, we declare that wisdom has no gender. The capacity for greatness, for silence, and for iron will belongs to the human spirit, not to a biology. Starting today, we tear down the fence. We will listen to the voices that have been whispered while the others were shouted. To begin this new chapter, we must leave the Roman Senate and the Japanese battlefield. We must travel to a place where the air is too thin to breathe, where the cold snaps bone and where the map simply stops. We are going to meet a woman who did not just read philosophy, she walked it across the roof of the world. Her name is Alexandra David-Néel, and she is the proof that the strongest will is not always the one that roars, but the one that endures. The year is 1924. The place is the forbidden borderlands of Tibet. Imagine a landscape of absolute, terrifying white, the Himalayas. The peaks rise like jagged teeth against a sky so dark blue it looks like the void of space. The wind here does not blow, it screams. It carries ice shards that can flay the skin from a face. In this frozen wasteland, two figures are walking. One is a young monk named Yongden, the other is a small, frail-looking old beggar woman. If you passed her on the mountain path, you would see nothing but a peasant near death. Her face is smeared with soot and grease from a cooking pot to darken her pale skin. She has braided black yak hair into her own graying locks to mimic the local style. She wears heavy, filthy rags that smell of rancid butter and smoke. She leans heavily on a wooden staff. Her boots are falling apart, revealing frostbitten skin. She looks like a woman who has lost everything. But you would be wrong. Underneath the soot, underneath the rags, burns a mind of such ferocity that it makes emperors look like children. This is Alexandra David-Néel. She is 55 years old. She is a Parisian aristocrat, an opera singer, a scholar who speaks fluent Sanskrit and Tibetan, and an anarchist. And she is doing what no Western woman, and very few men, had ever dared to dream. She is walking to Lhasa, the forbidden city of Tibet. At this time, Lhasa was closed to the outside world. The penalty for a foreigner entering the holy city was death or imprisonment. British armies had tried to breach its borders with guns and failed. But Alexandra was not trying to conquer Lhasa. She was not carrying a flag to plant. She was carrying a begging bowl. She understood a secret that the masculine conquerors often miss. To enter the forbidden place, you must not break down the door. You must become small enough to slip through the keyhole. Why? Why would a woman of comfort, a woman who could have spent her 50s in the salons of Paris discussing art and sipping wine, choose to starve in the Himalayas? Because she was possessed by a hunger that the civilized world could not feed. She wrote, "I craved to go beyond the garden gate, to follow the road that passed it by, and to set out for the unknown." She had spent years in comfortable libraries translating ancient texts, but she realized that words were dead things unless they were lived. To understand the mind, you must push it to the point where it breaks and see what remains. The journey was not a hike. It was a descent into the rawest elements of existence. For 4 months, Alexandra and Yongden walked thousands of miles through uncharted territory. They could not use the main roads for fear of being discovered by officials. They had to take the high passes, routes known only to wild animals and spirits. They faced hunger that we can barely imagine. At one point, having run out of barley flour, tsampa, they were trapped in a desolate valley for days without food. Desperate, Alexandra looked at the leather soles of her boots. She cut pieces of leather from her boots, boiled them in snow water for hours, and ate the leather soup to keep her body alive. This is the first lesson she offers us: adaptability. When the world strips you of your resources, do not complain. Do not wait for a rescue. Look at what you have, even if it is just the boots on your feet, and find a way to survive. The mind that survives is the mind that can turn a shoe into a meal. They faced violence. The mountains were crawling with bandits. One evening, a group of 7 robbers surrounded them. They saw a weak-old woman and a young monk, easy prey. They drew their knives. A man like Musashi might have drawn a sword. Alexandra had neither. She had her mind. She knew the culture of these men. So she stood up, not as a beggar, but as a sorceress. She let her hair loose in the wind. She screamed into the night, invoking imaginary wrathful deities, spinning a tale of dark magic so convincing, so terrifying, that the 7 armed men dropped their knives and begged for her blessing. This is the lesson of intellect over force. She proved that knowledge is a weapon sharper than any steel. She fought their mind, and she won without lifting a finger. But her greatest enemy was not bandits, nor hunger. It was the cold. Let us look closely at one specific night on this journey. It is deep winter. They are trapped in a blizzard at 13,000 feet. They have no tent. Their flint to start a fire is lost in the deep snow. The temperature drops to levels where the blood begins to thicken and slow. Yongden is fading. He is shivering violently, slipping into hypothermia. Biology dictates that they should die here, buried under the ice. But Alexandra does not accept the dictation of biology. She remembers a technique she learned years ago from the hermits in the high caves. A technique called Tummo, the yoga of inner heat. It is a practice where the meditator visualizes a fire at the base of the spine. They fan the flames with a specific rhythmic breath. She ignites the spark in her mind. She breathes, in, hold, expand, out. She visualizes the flame growing, filling her belly, traveling up her spine, warming her blood. And slowly, a miracle happens. The snow around her body begins to melt. Steam rises from her wet rags. She passes the night in a trance of heat, keeping herself and her companion alive not with wood or coal, but with the sheer power of her concentrated will. This is the lesson of internal sovereignty. Alexandra teaches us that the ultimate power is to change your internal state regardless of the external conditions. It is the ability to generate heat in a world of ice. It is the ability to generate hope in a world of despair. She proves that the human mind is not just a passive observer of reality, but a generator of it. When she finally reached Lhasa, after 4 months of hell, she was unrecognizable. She was thin as a skeleton, weathered like old wood. She walked into the holy city right under the noses of the guards who were looking for a European explorer. They did not suspect the little old beggar woman chanting prayers. She walked through the gates. She looked up at the Potala Palace with its golden roofs shining in the sun. She had done it. She had walked where the map ended. But what did she actually discover? She discovered that the magic of Tibet was not magic at all. It was a science of the mind. She brought back a profound truth, that we are vastly more powerful than we have been led to believe, that the limits we accept, I am too old, I am too weak, are not physical laws, they are mental agreements, and agreements can be broken. She wrote, "For one who knows how to look and to feel, every moment of this free wandering life is an enchantment." This is not delusion, this is the highest form of sanity. It is the realization that life, raw, dangerous, unfiltered life, is a privilege. She preferred the razor's edge of survival to the dull butter knife of a comfortable existence. Now look at your own life. You are not in the Himalayas. You are likely in a city or a suburb, surrounded by the hum of electricity and the safety of walls. But you have your own forbidden city. You have your own map that ends. There is a territory in your life that you are afraid to enter. Perhaps it is a creative project, a difficult conversation, or the fear of being seen as you truly are. We tell ourselves we cannot go there because we are not ready. We wait for the perfect gear. Alexandra started her journey at 55. She had a begging bowl and a will of iron. She teaches us that you do not need more resources to cross your inner frontier. You need more resourcefulness. You do not need the conditions to be easier. You need your mind to be stronger. There is a concept in her philosophy called the will. A wish is passive. A will is active. It is a command you issue to your own nervous system. When you face your own blizzard, do not wish for it to stop. Instead, ignite the Tummo of your own spirit. Find that place in the center of your spine that cannot be frozen. The world has told you that you are fragile, but look at the woman in the snow. She had nothing, and she had everything. She proves that the human being is anti-fragile. We have been listening to the stories of men conquering the world with swords. It is time to listen to the story of a woman who conquered the world with a walking stick and a silent mind. It is time to realize that the inner frontier is not a place for tourists. It is a place for pilgrims. And a pilgrim does not need a map. A pilgrim needs a direction. Alexandra David-Néel lived to be 101 years old. Even in her final years, she never stopped being an explorer. She never stopped walking towards the forbidden. So, here is the declaration of this channel and the invitation to you. We will no longer be satisfied with half the map. We will explore the masculine and the feminine, the sun and the moon, the sword and the bowl. We will walk where the pavement ends. We will go into the places where we have been told we cannot go, especially the places inside ourselves. You have a forbidden city waiting for you. Put on your boots, drop the heavy armor of your ego and walk. Walk until the map ends, and then take one more step. That is where the real life begins.